Thank you very much for taking a few minutes to talk with me.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you two doing?
Good.
I, thanks a lot for taking a few minutes to talk to me about this movie.
Thank you.
Thank
Vigo,
you.
I thought this was a really great film, man. I'm a big fan of Westerns. My dad got me into them. And this one felt different though, man. This one felt different than your typical, maybe it's American Westerns. It just feels different. Maybe I don't know, but this one feels different to me. Maybe it's because you're telling it from an immigrant perspective, sort of. But talk to me about your idea for this movie and what made you want to tackle this genre. I know you've starred in a lot of Westerns in your career, but to
Mm.
tackle this one as a director.
I think it also probably feels different because you have a woman at the center as the central figure, and that's not
Absolutely.
the norm in Westerns. And you focus on her childhood, what happens to her when the man goes away to war. You never see that in Westerns, really. So that's different, even though it looks and feels like a classic Western. I don't know. I didn't start out writing it as a Western. I started writing a story about a woman who's independent and kind of strong-willed, and then decided to place her on the Western frontier in the 19th century because I thought it would be tougher for her, more difficult for her to be herself and stand up for herself, because that society was kind of lawless, dominated by a few corrupt men who use violence to get what they want, and it would just make it a bigger challenge.
Vicky, the role of Vivian is I think it's such a fully fleshed out character. It's a great role. What was it that attracted you to wanting to play Vivian when you got the script?
So interesting enough, what attracted me to the whole script, because I'm usually attracted to something more or bigger than just the role. I don't know why. It's just I'm never, even though I'm an actor, I never feel like I'm interested in the acting. And here it was because and I think you too, but like one of the things that moves me or like works my head the most is social injustice, and like you say, corruption. And when I read the script, I had the feeling someone is trying to understand where some of this is maybe coming from. Maybe we are living in this very unjust world and with social injustice and all this segregation going on, and difference between religions or skin color, is because we built it all on like a very primitive social structure that was made by people who were all immigrants. They didn't know where they were going. They didn't really know what they were doing there. And suddenly they were just surviving. And this tone of survival suddenly became a whole country and a whole world. And that's really what attracted me most. But then, of course, reading it from the point of view of the character, I could relate to her probably in every way. I grew up in the woods dreaming of Joan of Arc. I was even a Joan of Arc fan, which he couldn't know. I feel like I'm struggling every day with being an independent woman, because it sounds nice on paper and it's like it looks cool, but it's actually a lot of work, and I fight a lot with myself, with my own understanding of what kind of woman am I supposed to be. Who am I trying to please, or am I even as strong as I believe I am? Mostly I'm not, mostly I'm much weaker than what I look like or what I think I am or what I'm doing. So to sum it up, the character to me, what made it interesting is that she's both. She's very strong, yes, but she's also very weak. And she's just surviving in her weakness. And that to me was very touching.
Well, I think you both were fantastic together. Your chemistry is terrific in this film. Before we go, Vigo, can you, guys, what do you hope people take away from the film when they go to see it?
I think that, among other things, I hope they consider the idea of forgiveness. Forgiving the other person can be a work relationship, a family relationship, or, a couple relationship, like in this story, love story. Forgive the other person, but forgive yourself. And that starts with at least showing an interest in what the other person thinks and feels about things that happen in that relationship, or things that happen to them you don't understand. Why are they upset? And rather than being annoyed that someone's upset or not talking to you, stop and think, well, why is that happening? Something must be going on. let me show some interest in it. When they're ready to tell me, maybe they will. That's just basic common sense and decency, but people don't do that all the time. Many relationships fall apart, professional ones or intimate ones, because one person or both are not willing to adapt to changes in the other person. Maybe changes that they're not expecting, or maybe that they initially don't like, but they're not willing to consider them. Like, no, they have different thoughts about something than you do. They are coming from a different place. And I guess it all comes down to, forgiveness being more important than revenge. Educating yourself so that you're not afraid and mistrustful of people who are different than you, who look different, sound different, all of that. I think that this story
Gives a lot.
has a lot to do with those things, maybe, hopefully.
Well, those are definitely themes that we don't typically get to see in your average Western, which I think is one of the reasons why this movie is so special. Thanks a lot, Viggo, Vicky. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best luck with the film.
Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.